Welcome to your weekly Social Jack Influence Factory. Introducing your coaches, Dean Delisle, Kate Hassett, and Jackson Delisle.
Hey.
Boo.
Oh my gosh. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
You guys have no idea how it is looking on a screen with this mask on. So
Yeah, I bet it's ridiculous.
Halloween, I'm taking it off. Oh my gosh.
He
Okay,
has
that
a
has
face.
to. Oh my gosh, you guys have no idea. I'm like looking through this tiny hole and trying to determine where my screen is at.
Too funny.
Oh, well, that's a first. Oh,
Yeah.
Kate, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. So anyway, I'm just there's Jackson, who's the green arrow, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
And Kate, do you have a character name for yours, or is it just Kate the cat?
Kate the cat. Yeah, I like that. Content marketing kitty cat. That's what I'm going to go with.
Content kitty cat Kate.
Yeah, that's a lot of words.
Yeah, and it's all C's. Oh, that's
Perfect.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, anyway, we'd love to have fun here. So we see a lot of people logging in. So welcome, everybody. And don't forget, welcome to another episode of the Influence Factory. We have an amazing guest today. It's like I'm going to call her like the keeper of the influencers. Can't wait to have her on. So Breanna Jacobs, who runs all the social media strategy summits, higher ed, and a bunch of other cool shows across the country. So definitely a person to know and to get to know. So, Kate, if people want to connect to us on social, what is the protocol?
So we're on all social media, Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Instagram at Social Jack, on Twitter at Get Social Jack, and our lovely content writer Jen is on Twitter right now, following the hashtag Influence Factory to answer your questions. So if you engage on Twitter with us, you'll win a prize. So check it out, Get Social Jack.
Yeah, who's going to win this week? I'm trying to figure out who's going to win. I know. So with that being said, Jackson, if people want to catch us after the show, what are the digital channels that they can listen in on?
If you'd like to check out the webcast podcast after the show, you can watch the recording and see all our costumes on YouTube. And then if you would like to listen to it, let's say you're driving somewhere, but everyone's busy these days. So just you can go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and just type in Social Jack Influence Factory. It should be right there.
Woohoo! Awesome. So again, welcome everybody. Remember, tune in and take notes. You're always going to learn something new. And especially with Breanna, she's such a connector. We've played with her now for about 6 or 7 years, I think. And still, I'll say this publicly again, that Social Media Strategy Summit is one of our best shows that we go to in the social media space. So it's super cool. Hey, Jim, you're on a few minutes late. You missed my costume, Kate and Jackson. Jackson's partially now showing his true identity, and there you go. He's the arrow. So there you go. So happy Halloween to everybody, and as you're joining us. So it was pretty funny, though, trying to see the screen. I couldn't find my mouse, and I've got all these controls, and I'm like looking through my mask. So it's like these tiny eyeballs. So anyway.
Halloween problems.
Yes, Halloween first world problems. All right. Don't forget to ask questions in the toolbar. So, what is your Halloween costume this year? Or if you don't have one, what do you wish it was? What's your Halloween costume this year? So, Kate, are you going to any more parties? Last weekend there was parties because it's right in the middle of the week. And then this weekend there's parties. I know you dressed up with Maddox, right?
Yeah, well, Maddox was a hot dog, a Chicago dog with no ketchup. And then my cat, I need to find a picture of him. My cat was a hamburger.
Oh, that's funny.
So that was really cute. That's Clark the hamburger. But I have another costume. I'm going to go out tonight, and I'm going to be a gold digger. So I have like a sparkly gold costume and a big shovel.
So Catherine, Jim, Roger, everybody that's on with us today, type in, what is your Halloween costume this year, or what do you wish it was?
Or what was your best one ever? That's a good one too.
Jen says she's going as a Starbucks caramel frappuccino. Jim's gonna be Batman, and then Jen's. Oh, today she's a cat, thanks to
A
Kate.
cat too.
I wonder where she got that idea.
I don't know.
Miriam says she doesn't have a costume and she doesn't like children. Oh no, she doesn't like Halloween.
Yeah, you very much misread that.
Yes,
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, sorry.
Miriam doesn't like children. Let's just announce that.
Right. And
No, she doesn't have a problem with children, everyone.
know.
She loves children.
Right.
sorry about that, Miriam. It was just my speed reading always gets me in trouble. Ask the gang here. So.
Too funny.
Oh, and Roger is the best ever Jolly Green Giant.
Oh, that is a
Yeah.
good one.
I went as Rocky. I had a black eye, and I went, did
Oh, that's
that
good.
for one of the parties. And then I always do the Green Arrow. I spent a lot of time putting all that together because is a homemade costume. So.
Cool.
Right. All right, cool. So listen, Social Jack members, remember you all can be members of Social Jack. And right now, for a limited time, if you go there and you click on socialjack.com and you say log in to be a member, you can just take a tour. There's a lot of things available. There's like at least 150 different classes there. Go ahead and take a tour and sample some of those classes. And some of the forums are up there too. So super cool stuff. So please take advantage of that while we have it open.
It's so funny because we have the interns all going through the academy right now and all of our social media department. And they're like, wow, I can't believe all of this is in the academy. So make sure you're taking advantage of it. Tons of stuff in there.
Yeah, please, please, please. And we constantly upload. So many of you know we just finished our Chicago sold out workshop, the influencer development program, and we uploaded all the worksheets. So now you can be an influencer with all those same materials. So please don't miss out on that. So super, super cool stuff. Also discount codes, and write down the discount code SJ50. Social Jack, just SJ, the initials, 50. And I'll tell you what that's for in a minute. Okay, so Kate, did we have a good time at this workshop or what? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we graduated. I think we were supposed to only have 50 and we got to 60. The room was just wedged. Like if you guys were on our Facebook page, Jackson barely had enough room for the camera crew to squeeze in. It was like the craziest but funnest time. So hopefully, if you guys want to be on the waiting list for next year, just go to socialjackinfluencer.com. Put me on the 2019 workshop waiting list and go there, and you'll be on the waiting list, or tell your friends about it. So thank you very much. Also, very special. Kate, you want to talk about this one? This one's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, Laura Stees, absolutely just an influencer, this woman's business owner, CPA, and she is so talented, so passionate about helping specifically women business owners. She's mentored me a few times and she's just so fantastic, and she's hosting a webinar. It's completely free. She's going to give you lots of tips and tricks to breaking through your personal barriers as a woman business leader, not even an owner, just a boss lady. She's going to give you all of her tips and tricks. Plus, just for coming, you'll receive her free ebook. So really good opportunity. And man, this lady knows a lot. So make sure you check it out. It's womenbusinessownersunite.com.
Yeah, and people rarely get her live, so this is a unique opportunity for you to ask her questions. She's coached and mentored women for decades, and so
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a huge opportunity to and she's collaborative, so she's got this great community that you're automatically part of, and you just get connected, and she'll refer you to anybody. I've never seen, she's an amazing person, so please make sure you jump in on that. So also write down salesjack.net. You guys are the first to know about this. If you use SJ50, it's our complete social selling workshop that is all online. So it's the full one that all the clients take. We go to workshops. We do this all over the world. This is one part of the one we're launching in Asia. We're launching a piece of this. You can take it anywhere in the world, and SJ50 gets you half off. So I think with the early bird, it's only $97 for all 4 classes, and it starts December 6th. Do I have that right, Jackson? I think it's December 6th. So But jump in now, and then we're going to have some other cool things that we give you. The team is actually going to personally review your LinkedIn profile. So how cool is that? All right, Jackson, we've got some news today, don't we?
Yes, we do. It is the state of social video in 2018.
Here we go.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this, and I have a question for you because I was reading through this a little bit.
Well, I mean, so this is a really cool article to show the growth of social video in 2018. We always talk about it. We always talk about, make sure you're using video. Social video is, growing. And even when we had George B. Thomas on the show,
yep.
He was super big into that, and he was telling us all about it. And we continue to see it grow throughout 2018. If you look, starting in January, it was just getting there, and now it's everywhere. So every company is basically doing video, and the ones that aren't are almost getting penalized on social media, like almost getting hurt because there's so much great video content out there. So I took a couple screenshots of the graphic, and here are probably the top few aspects of it that I thought were the most important. So starting off with the social media ROI, video is receiving a 63% ROI.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
Whereas photos and graphics are only getting 56%. So
actually, they're not too far off though. So that's interesting.
They're not, but that extra, what is it? Whatever that is.
Don't hurt yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. It's, that extra little bit is going to, help reach your audience, and statistics show that, saying the word video or watch this video or things like that pertaining to video in an email subject headline,
that's
or
true.
even a subhead, you're going to get, twice as many open rates and click rates. And it boosts it because everyone wants to just watch it instead of reading it. It's
amazing. Yeah.
It's crazy the way it works, but yeah, it's awesome. And yeah.
And the other thing I like here is Kate, you see where it says 74% of marketers have posted at least 2 videos on Instagram?
Yeah. Oh my God, Instagram is so big for video. It's interesting that when we really launched Influence Factory with this new format at the beginning of, or right before 2018, we were interviewing influencers who were saying video was going to be the next big thing, and it's really just blown up. Instagram's so big for video. LinkedIn has really been pushing it, and so that's helped a lot of people. I think video has transformed LinkedIn. It's just really made it more of an engaging network where people are, ready to share their insights and their experience. One of the most important things I think is that the top video challenges that you have up on the screen right now are that it's too time consuming, it's too complicated, and it's out of their budget. This is all you need to make a video. It doesn't have to be anything super produced. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's supposed to be authentic and you. I would say another challenge I think facing a lot of marketers is that they're scared to do video. And I think that a good tip that we have is to tag somebody in your social media video that you think will play back with you. Part of that social teaming and building your network. If I'm going to post a video, I'm going to tag Dean and say, what do you think? Leave me your comments because I know he'll play back. So if you're looking to break into video, I think that's a really great way to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Jackson, for that very cool article. Real quick, a lot of people are saying, put me on a waiting list, put me on a waiting list. So I'm going to let you choose that on the screen right now, and then we're going to get ready to bring our guest on. Real quick, the influencer event marketing. So we're going to bring Breanna Jacobs on. But one of the things I want to empower you to do is whether you're an attendee at an event or whether you are holding an event, make sure that you have an inventory. We're giving you access to a checklist here for yourself, but make sure you inventory everybody and check them out on social media as far ahead of, as you can. So the minute you see speakers listed, go engage with those speakers. The minute you see, sponsors listed, go engage with the sponsors. The minute you hear other people are going, follow that hashtag and connect. I'm telling you, you will get more business out of that, more referrals, more connections, and especially those of you looking for more speaker opportunities, just get ready to rock and roll. So if you go to eventinfluencerprogram.com/toolkit, you can download that entire checklist and everything like that. All right. So Kate, we have a guest coming on now. Who is this?
Yeah, Breanna Jacobs from SMSS, or she's from GSMI, right?
Yes.
One of those. And but I met her at SMSS. She is absolutely fantastic. I follow her on social, and I love her like guerrilla marketing tactics of how she finds speakers. And I think that there's a lot of ways we can apply that into our own networks. So we're really excited to have her. Come on down, Breanna Jacobs.
Right. So she studied and worked in Spain. I found out she was an English teacher.
Yeah.
And then I know she's my California connection too. Hey, how you doing? And I always see you traveling. I mean, my God, it was just a nugget. I mean, I watched you this year and I was like, what? She's in Vietnam. She's here. She's there. She's like, tell me about that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've really prioritized at least the last couple of years. I mean, I studied abroad in Spain too, but I try to get somewhere every year, but also just locally too. I try to get to the national parks and stuff like that. Those are on my list too. But yeah, no, I've been really lucky to be able to go somewhere pretty cool each year. I try to step outside of my comfort zone, especially with Southeast Asia. That was kind of a trip, but so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm very lucky to be able to do it, but I try to go somewhere each year.
So what's your favorite place?
Oh gosh. I'd say recently Ecuador was really cool. I did that last year. And we went to the Amazon, which was I can't even tell you the kinds of bugs that I saw there, but
like big ones, real big ones.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Like tarantulas.
Like
now that I see like a tarantula in real life, though, they're kind of cute. I mean, they're like little fuzzy guys. But that was cool. I mean, I got eaten alive in the Amazon, but it was very cool to see just the wildlife and just how they live there, and everyone was super nice and did some biking and hiking and stuff there. So that was really fun. So that's kind of the top of my list. I want to explore more of South America in general, but that was a fun recent trip. So
yeah, fun. So I was trying to calculate last night, and you might even know this. So it feels like you've been doing events longer, but that's because I've known you for almost 100% of the 7 years. So how many events? Well, I would say how many? Yeah. So how many total events? That's probably easier. But then how many participants have you served?
Oh gosh. Well, I remember celebrating my 30th event with GSMI. I think that was like the end of 2016. So probably, 40 plus events total. I mean, Social Media Strategy Summit, but I've done events in design and development and all of that as well. So at least 40. But I mean, for social media, it's easily thousands. I think probably 6,000 or 7,000 plus people have come through our events over the number of years that we've been doing it. So that's been.
So just so you know, I calculated over 10,000 attendees.
Oh, really? There goes my math skills. Thanks, Dean.
No, I'm just saying, think about that. Think of the knowledge that you have.
Yeah, maybe that sounds a little bit more. It's because next year is our 9th year doing the Social Media Strategy Summit. So that would actually make more sense. Your 10,000. Yeah.
And for those of you that haven't gone, I know you're going to go when it comes to your area this year or sooner. And Kate, you experienced this. It's the only social media summit that I know of that is so collaborative. Like you could, all of a sudden you're sitting down and you're with a person from Disney or you're with a person from Google. And I've never had that feeling before, like everybody gets to know everybody. Did you get that, Kate?
Yeah, absolutely. Even I taught the influencer marketing workshop, and even in my class, we had people of different levels that were attending, and people that were just breaking into influencer marketing, people that had been doing it for a while. So even my workshop was so collaborative. It was a very awesome experience. Like no conference I've ever been to.
So Breanna, how did you guys come up with the idea that you're going to keep it manageable and then get it collaborative, or was it magic?
I'll go with magic, keep it mysterious. No. Well, that's, I mean, and we're, we're continuing to try to grow the conference, but I mean, you're right. I don't ever want to lose that kind of that community feel. And I think it obviously depends on the type of event experience that you're looking for. Like, I know there are a lot of marketing conferences where just, for a lot of the attendees and vendors and stuff, it just is about that exposure. And so if you're looking, for an event of 2,000 people, that can be, beneficial event to attend. But yeah, I don't really ever want to get past, I mean, who knows what the exact number is, but past, 400 or 500 people, I think it just, it tends to lose that,
Intimacy.
community feel. Yeah. But I mean, and the way that we program it too, I mean, with those workshops, Kate, the one that you did on influencer marketing, and Dean's done a ton of workshops for us over the years as well. But that's kind of a way, kind of creating the event experiences to make sure that we can keep that community feel. And the workshops are, we tend to max those out at 40 or 50 people, just so that people have that opportunity to really meet each other. And because being, I'm kind of an introvert, and so I think that way, how can we make it easy for people to meet each other and see the same faces throughout the conference, and really also just meet the speakers too. Like, I never want the speakers to be at a distance on the stage. Like, I want them to be, interacting with the attendees and networking with everyone too, and just also, having that same attendee experience as well. So yeah.
And you, before you started doing events, you had a different career. So you were a teacher. We kind of talked about this a little bit. So how did you kind of make that transition, or what posed you to make that transition?
Yeah, I mean, so after I graduated from Santa Barbara, I went, because I had studied abroad a year in Spain, and then I went back to teach English over there. And so when I got back, I mean, just to be honest, I had my my TEFL certification, and so it made a lot of sense just to get a teaching job and see, sort of where that took me. Right. And so I found that the ESL teaching job, but I had already sort of had an itch to get into marketing. And so that's where GSMI came in, and actually started as a marketing internship. And then it just sort of morphed into me. They happened to be looking for an event producer. And so it was kind of marketing plus events, but that's how I got that started. So it's, I wouldn't say I ever planned to be a teacher, but it was definitely a good experience. And I think, seeing that side of education too, I think is kind of helped inform, the way that I think about events and conferences too. But yeah, I think when we were chatting earlier, just the respect that you have for teachers too, after having that experience. And my sister's a 5th grade teacher, so I'm like, yes. Yeah, I admire her every day for that.
Props to all the patient teachers in the world. Dean's one of them. He teaches me a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and it's because both my parents were teachers. So that's just, I had a 5th grade teacher and a high school teacher. I got away with nothing. So.
They know all the tricks, I'm sure.
I know. Yeah, right.
Awesome. One thing you guys do a lot that I think is so smart, and we do a little bit of it here, is the free virtual events. So you're collecting influencers and you're building networks, and you have all these different conferences built up, and you do such a great job of talking about different things like the healthcare and education, right? What did the one in New York covered, like healthcare, education, or were those two separate ones?
Higher education focus.
Higher ed.
Yeah.
Higher ed. Okay, so you separate all these different, and you're looking for influencers that fit in these niches. But one thing that I really want to talk about is the free virtual events, because you put on a few of those a year, and they're just free to everybody, right?
Yeah. And that's giving partial credit to you guys. You guys helped me organize those, which is awesome. But I mean, I think it's just, I'm trying to show our focus on education and, understanding that it's not always within people's, budget or just the ability to travel to some of our events. And so just expanding those offerings and keeping the focus on education and just having access to those thought leaders that work for those brands, and just seeing, I like to think of it as a behind the scenes look at how some of these practitioners are, working on their projects. But it is, it's the education piece, the case study piece. It's always kind of been the focus of our event, and building the community too. I mean, that's how virtual events have really served us well too, and giving them access to those speakers. So that's why we always do the live Q&A. We never pre-record any of those events, because we like the attendees to feel like they can really interact with the speakers and ask them questions, and just creating that open live dialogue has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I like the variety too, because we have panels, which means for every session you have 4 influencers, right, that are given their opinion, their viewpoint, things like that, and then you have keynotes, and so it's a nice variety and mix of mixing that up. So
yeah, well, I love bringing together, especially on a panel, practitioners from just totally different industries, because I like hearing those different opinions and just how different industries are approaching, social and content. And that's a big thing at our events too, is how these different influencers can bring, fresh ideas and have people think a little bit differently about what they're doing within their own industry. I think it's cool.
Well, in that last one, we had over 1,000 registered, and I couldn't believe. Remember the engagement? I think you were moderating, and or maybe it was Ryan, and we're trying to get questions in, and I'm like, finally, we just had to do this big Google Doc of all the questions.
Yeah,
it was like,
I know, which was awesome.
So when you're looking for influencers and panelists for all of these events, I see you on Twitter. I follow you on social media, and I see you tweeting people.
Like, I see you.
Yeah, I see you tweeting people like, SMS Summit, #coming soon. Do you want to be a speaker? So I see you going to all the links to get people, and I think that that's so smart. What kind of process do you use for like vetting speakers? Do you just go by followers, or do you go more by like referrals or engagement, or what kind of things are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it's a few different approaches. I mean, a big thing for me, just speaking of, connecting and being an influencer in that regard, is just really counting on the community of speakers that I've built. I mean, I get so many great connections from speakers that I've worked with over the years, and so they connect me with a lot of great marketers that are working on really great stuff. But I tend to, find just in, read the news and stuff like that, and you see the really cool campaigns, and sometimes I'll try to find the marketers or the agencies that are behind that work, and try to get them to learn a little bit more about what they're doing. So it's kind of a little bit background finding the work and then finding the marketer behind it, but just and feedback from our attendees too. Hearing about the brands that they want to work with, and then searching a lot through Twitter. LinkedIn is a huge resource for me in finding people, but just learning more about their work. I think that speaks the most for people. Influencers that I'm looking for is really looking to their work. I think that says a lot about there's them being an influencer. But yeah, it's always me. I like to reach out personally too, so that's why you'll see me on LinkedIn or Twitter, just making sure that they know it's I'm the face behind the conference, and making that personal connection too. But it's just reading a lot about people online and seeing the work that they're doing, and kind of going from there and reaching out. But it's sort of building the web of meeting one person and they introduce me to someone else. I mean, Dean introduces me to a ton of people, and I never take that for granted. Having people that want to connect me to others, I think that's super important. It has a really big impact on the success of my events too.
Yeah, I love that.
So somebody just asked, like, what, this, I find this interesting about you too, in your methodology of determining topics, because it feels like, there's a theme, it matches trends, it matches, like, you match up case studies, and so they're saying, well, what type of topics do you look for, and how can, what's the best way for someone to inquire about being a speaker?
Yeah, a lot of it is based on the feedback that we get from conferences. So you guys have seen me on sites. I'm always bugging people to fill out the evaluation forms
Yes.
because people will tell me, what how their departments or which departments benefit most from attending the social media event, what challenges their departments are currently facing, and that's super insightful to me. And even just thinking of topics that they want to hear about coming up is really where I get a lot of, and obviously I'm always doing research and reading up on the latest trends, but I think I tend to put more emphasis on the evaluations, because sometimes I think what people are really working on and the trends don't necessarily always align. I think it's, people do come to our events to learn about the best practices and kind of the latest in social media marketing, but in reality, a lot of people are still, trying to build out their content teams and build, write consistent content every day, and how do they build an engaged community? It's kind of those core social media concepts. So it's a lot of feedback from our attendees. But for speaking, I mean, we have, of course, you can always access on the website the form to fill out a session. But what always catches my attention is just a really great story. I think the best practices and the how-to sessions definitely have their place, but when attendees can see it in action, and also just being able to walk through the steps that a brand took to get there, and just being candid about things maybe that didn't work so well, and not always having it be a success story, because I think that's what marketers see day to day. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's cool. And I do love the fact that you bring out the authenticity in people. I mean, the fact that people feel free in that environment to talk about failure is a huge deal. I mean, you've got big brands that are standing in front of the room and saying, this didn't work for us, and this is the shift we made. I mean, I've learned so much just from those sessions alone. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I try to emphasize that too. And when I'm talking with speakers, it's like, that's what people want to hear about, because then you feel like you're really connecting with another marketer. That goes back to what I'm saying of just making sure that it's not these big brands presenting from the stage that are just talking about how their successful marketing strategy, but really working through those challenges and having people you can brainstorm with and get feedback on your own marketing strategy and all of that during the conference. So I do try to emphasize that.
Yeah, I think that's what I like best about those events is obviously it's big names, but most of the speakers you have come out aren't from the really, really, really big companies, household names. Most of them are from, I mean, there's definitely some, but a lot of them are from more of like the micro influencer companies that are taking chances and trying new things. So we kind of have a mixture of best practices versus like what's trending, what's coming up. And so those are the conversations that I really had with everybody is like what's on the cusp, what's coming next.
Right.
So yeah, it's cool. It's a very cool experience. What about for somebody kind of jumping into event marketing? So you obviously have been doing this for many years and you've built this great community, but what tips do you have for someone who's maybe just starting and wants to build a collaborative community around their events?
I mean, I think for me, what I've thought to be really important is, I mean, I know that the conference brand is really important, and that's important to lead with, and that's what people are going to recognize. But it's the personal branding piece, and so I try to always make sure that people know that I'm the face behind the event, and just to make myself accessible. I think that's really important. Even on site, just making sure that people can contact me or leading up to the event. The event messaging that goes out, I try to make sure that it sounds like me. And so
I noticed that too. You gave your cell phone number out to like all the speakers. I was like, oh, that seems dangerous. But you answered as soon as I texted you. So I know you were stressed, but you were there for me.
So I think that's important. I mean, people probably have their own thoughts, but I really think that a face behind a brand, no matter what, is really what's going to make people feel connected. So, just in thinking of expanding your network, just putting yourself out there as the face of whatever event that you're running, or and just making sure, that your personality show a little bit. And so I try to do that through social and the different email messages and stuff that we send out, and anything, all of the on-site materials for the event too. I just want people to know that they have the opportunity to connect with a real person versus just the conference brand, So I would say, at least for me, that's the most important part of, kind of building that network.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like what you said about building the conference brand, but it's almost like the theme you've had at the last few social media strategy summits about humanizing it too. So making sure people know the people. So so that feels cool. In fact, I always, how I always love to get you guys on the demo reel, because I'm like, I want people to know who you are. You guys are working so hard, and I'm like,
you can catch me running around the conference. Yeah.
I always said we got to get the Breanna net out so we can grab her when she's running past. But I think that's a huge part. And then, like you said, people feel that you're accessible. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, and I try to model too, because I think I've just seen this in speakers being so generous with me and connecting me with other people, that I try to be that person too. And just at the events, I mean, I think that's why I love this job so much, is that just seeing what's happened from people meeting at the conferences, and whether it's, even if it's just a friendship or a business relationship, or people, I've seen deals come out of people meeting at our events, but I always want to be that person that can help people connect with other people, just because speakers have been so generous. And like, I mean, even without me, I mean, there are lots of times that I'll ask to be like, do you know someone who'd be a good fit for this session? But even just them being like, I saw this session was open, or even just a speaker to consider for future events, I think this person is great. And that's done so much for me. And so I try to emphasize that too, in my own, building out my own network, is just connecting people, because it's a, that it's helpful, and just a genuine, genuine interest in seeing people connect. That's been a lot of fun too. So I think that's important also.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm getting deja vu from what she's seeing and what you were teaching at the workshop this past Thursday, because that's kind of the whole
Right.
that's kind of the whole thought process behind social teaming, and how we build our team and our networking, whether we're booking them for events, or whether we just want to do business, or that referral source, whatever it is. I mean, it's so important to build a strong network like that, whether or not they're all influencers. They all have an influence in their network, so that's very cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize to people to make sure they heard Kate, because I think a lot of times we're collecting connections but not building relationships. And I think one of the things is, some of the people are saying, well, how do I become a speaker? What are tips for people that want to build that speaking career for themselves? You have to be present, just like we have you typing in here and we give Starbucks gift cards and all those cool things. But it's about engagement. Don't you agree, Breanna? It's like that engagement of hashtag, SMSS Summit being a forever thing, not just an event thing, right?
Right.
I mean, what's your viewpoint?
Yeah. Well, and even just in thinking of being a speaker at a conference, and of course I can speak to the way that I plan my programs, but for a speaker who kind of takes the extra step to help promote the conference, or is interested in helping produce content leading up to the event, or just wants to be there to actually be a part of the conference experience. And not to say, like, speakers, schedules are different, and sometimes it really is only possible for them to come in to present, and they have to get back to the office. Especially if they're local speakers, I feel like their office won't let them off the hook. But for speakers who are able to dedicate that time to just really being as involved as they can, I mean, that's kind of another tip too. It just and establishing that relationship with the producer, just in thinking of events coming up and all of that as well. But I think that's a mark of another, of a connector, someone who wants to take the time to really be involved, and meet the other people leading up to the event and stuff. So that's another tip I would say too.
Yeah, did you see that our buddy Ryan is going to Egypt?
I did.
I know, I just saw that today.
It's wild.
Look at little Ryan started out at Social Media Strategy Summit
As an attendee,
as
yeah.
an attendee, went
Yeah.
to like the MC, and now he's getting paid to fly to Egypt. I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
And he's like,
Yeah, no, but well
'cause-
deserved. Yeah, he has such
yes.
a, I mean, he has such a cool story. But yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, and I love seeing that part about it because I feel like everybody that's part of the community. I mean, look at Mary Rodriguez. She went from,
Mhm.
I think she started. I'm not sure if she started as an attendee, but she was just like working in social media, and then she became the head of storyteller for Microsoft.
She
And it's
did.
like,
She did
what?
start. I actually found this out on LinkedIn because she tagged me in a comment, but she was an attendee at social media and then had reached out to me and she's like, I love this conference. I think just based on what I talked about with other attendees, I think this topic would be great for a talk. And that was her first speaking gig. And I didn't realize that was the
Really?
first. Yeah. I was like,
Oh,
oh, that's
wow.
so cool. Yeah. But so and it goes so with Ryan too. It's about, they both really put in the effort. And Ryan, I
Yes.
mean, you know him well too, that he just he engages and it's all very genuine because it's what he loves to do, but just going the extra mile to get involved and help promote and really get involved with the community. So yeah, no, those are two really great examples.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about being, again, so a lot of people are like, well, there's no magic piece here. There's a commitment to now you're a speaker. You need
Mhm.
to be communicating that you're a speaker and hang out with other speakers. I mean, do you agree with that? I mean, that's what I do. So
Yeah,
that's what my
yeah.
thoughts. But
I
I,
mean, it can only
but they have to
benefit.
be, speakers I like too. So I'm like, oh, I'm serious. You notice all the
This
people
is
I
my
hang out
list
with.
of criteria, but
You must be fun.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I agree. And it can only benefit you too. I mean, there's just so many opportunities for connections at these conferences. And as with anything, I mean, you get out of it what you put in. So yeah, going out of your way to attend the networking events and attend the sessions and stuff that are built to be collaborative and introducing yourself to the speakers or reaching out to them ahead of time, seeing if they have time to chat. And there's lots of ways to make sure that you can really connect with others during the time of the conference. But yeah, no, I totally agree. It's yeah, it's great when people are really interested in connecting.
Yeah, John Chang was another one. We had I can't remember what company he was with when he was at Social Media
That's
Strategy
right.
Summit, but he's with
Oh,
IBM
Kickstarter.
now.
Yeah,
What was it?
he was with Kickstarter, but yeah, he's
Right. Yeah, yeah. And now
at
he's with
IBM now.
IBM. We had him on the show and it was so funny to
The
hear.
week he was changing jobs, we
Yeah.
had him on the show.
Oh,
Yeah, it
God.
was crazy, but it was so funny. It was so cool to hear like how tenacious he was with getting speaking gigs. Like he said he just sent all these messages out to people, was like, I'll speak for free, I'll speak for free. And now he's doing what he wants to do. And so
Yeah.
it's cool. And I like that SMSS kind of recognizes that in people because a lot of people are jump starting their own careers.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, John's great. I love John. He's just like, he has this like really genuine, awesome energy because he spoke in New York too. Because I
Uh-huh.
reached back out because he was in transition and he wanted to let me know once he had a new job lined up. But yeah, he came to speak and helped moderate a track and stuff too. But yeah, I know he's I mean, super smart guy, but also yeah, he has such a great, genuine energy. I like John a lot.
Yeah, and
I had no idea that you guys interviewed him. That's funny.
and
Very
as
cool.
you're saying this, I'm thinking model, watch other speakers and what are they doing
Mhm.
and who are they connecting to, and you'll be surprised how available they are. I
Mhm.
think that's the other
Mhm.
thing too is, we always say that we're professional chasers because when we do these things, and we've never had to chase you, Breanna, so thank you so much. But whenever we do and pull these together, you know how one right before we'll be like, oh, we haven't heard from so and so, and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and we're like, it always comes down to the wire, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I think we
Yeah.
had one where some lady was in an airport, and we're putting her on a panel, and I just,
Oh yeah.
uh,
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Hey, we have a question that just came in from Twitter. When you're booking people for events like speakers, is there any kind of contract that you give them ahead of time for what they're supposed to promote or do you just have them like show up on the day?
So we do, I've started doing promotional banners for speakers. So I create that for them and then I'll send them a link and some copy and stuff that they can use on social. And then just depending on, how much speakers want to be involved. I mean, we do, interviews on the blog, or sometimes in partnership with some of our media partners that run podcasts and stuff like you guys. I get them connected to be able to participate there. So there's lots of opportunities to be involved, but at least via social media or just spreading the word with their colleagues, that's always great leading up to the event. Yeah, so I always, send over the assets for that too, so that they have stuff that they can promote their session with.
Yeah, that's super cool. And then this is something that, energizes me and frustrates me sometimes, but I sort of want to know, like, how much weight do you put on speakers that are trying to get known, and yet, I know we always have to have that thing. You heard me, with our event, influencer download toolkit and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you think, if you're out there, do you look for assets that people have that they can share with your audience? Does that count for something? Or what do you look for on the content side for people, like for speakers?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, and this like with a lot of the workshops and stuff that I do, I mean, and you guys do that a lot too, just the materials and just worksheets and other resources that that speakers have for attendees. So anything, I mean, that's always a bonus, and just anything that I can find. Also, just I've noticed too with speakers that have, just thinking of people trying to break into the space with speaking, but if you have a speaker page and you have a couple of topics that you've presented on in the last year, or like your slide decks or a YouTube video, that's always, I always like to encourage speakers that are trying to break into getting on the conference circuit to have a resource like that. Because I think, at least myself, if it's someone that I haven't worked with before, that's always nice to have, just so I can get a sense of their style and just their, the types of topics and stuff that they present on. And resources provided for attendees, I mean, that's always great. And lots of times speakers will work that into their presentation decks and give them a link or something to access later. But that's always, I know attendees get excited about that. Mike Brown in New York, he just released his new book, and he gave that away to attendees at the opening keynote, and people got so excited. He's like, cause he put them in gift bags on the tables, and he's like, I mean, we brought a gift for you guys, but yeah, just seeing people's reaction to content like that was pretty cool. So that's always definitely
well, and that's so smart, because people are going to post that on social and tag him, and that's just more PR for him. That's so smart.
Yeah, totally.
Super huge, super huge. So,
do you have any other tips? Sorry, Rick just wrote in. Do you have any other tips for people who are trying to build more speaking gigs?
Other tips. I mean, I honestly, in thinking of John's approach, I think I would, if you're trying to build out just your portfolio, I'd probably go into it being pretty flexible. And also I've noticed that, like, a lot of meetups too, like local meetups, you can probably start at least building up your, because those, I mean, it's not a conference, but those definitely counts as getting on stage and giving a presentation. So that I know those happen a little bit more frequently, especially if you can get in somewhere local. I've noticed that a lot of people put that on like their list of speaking engagements, or so that could be another good place to start if it's not, because you can't, attending different conferences throughout the year can be a little bit expensive, but starting local with meetups and everything is a good way to start. But also optimizing like which I'm sure you guys probably go into this stuff too, but just your LinkedIn, your Twitter, just listing yourself as a speaker is huge. I think I find a lot of people, because there's sometimes, the VP of a big brand they're not always interested in speaking. So if people can quickly find you and know that you're interested in speaking, I think that's a good place to start too. But for sure, or at least a basic landing page with your information and links to your work too, because even if you don't necessarily have a big speaking portfolio, the work that you've done can obviously say a lot for what you can bring to the table in terms of a really interesting presentation. So that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you do a lot of research and reading. So who do you follow in terms of getting ideas and things like that, either on the marketing side or on the event side that help you out?
I mean, for ideas, at least for my conferences, I mean, I follow a lot of the like Marketing Dive or Adweek or Digiday. I'm kind of I follow a lot of those because they have sort of the latest campaigns, and so that kind of gives me a lot of inspiration for topics that I should be covering on my programs. But what I also do on Twitter is that I create a list for my social media speakers, and so that's my way. I mean, it's just my way of keeping in touch, but also just kind of seeing what the practitioners that I've worked with are, posting and sharing and working on too. So I try to be good about catching up there on Twitter as well, just to see what people are up to.
Yeah, super cool, super cool. And do you have any favorite tools that you use to help, shortcut things or anything like that?
This is gonna probably sound pretty anticlimactic. I just use TweetDeck.
So do I. Oh my gosh. I feel so good about that. I'm like, am I the only one on here? So
no, yeah, I just keep it simple with TweetDeck, but I tend to be a little bit old school with the tools and stuff that I use. But also actually for finding content and also people, BuzzSumo, I've been using that for a little while too. That's just really great to see what content people are sharing. And then also you can search influencers, and I think they let you break it down by like company, or if you're only looking for like journalists or bloggers or brands, you can filter that out. But if you're looking for new people to engage with or follow, and value in that too by Sumo.
Yeah.
And what about event marketing trends? We kind of saw the last couple years live streaming events was like the new trend, and now it seems a lot of people are doing it. What do you think is next? Without giving away all your secrets, do you think there's a new trend coming up?
Whoops.
Frozen.
Might have lost her Wi-Fi.
What do you think, Dean? You do a lot of events.
Oh,
do you think there's
she's
any
back.
trends coming up?
She's back.
I feel like whenever I do some live video thing, it's always at least once my Wi-Fi will just go out. So
Kick
that
you
was
off.
it was due. Sorry guys.
We're almost out of time anyway. So so what we were trying to bottom line is anything you see coming next, in terms of the world of events, like things that you're like, well, this is early, but now this is going to be popping, besides live stream and those sort of things.
In terms of events,
predict the future.
Let me consult my crystal ball. Oh gosh, you guys caught me. I'm drawing a blank here.
No, that's okay. That's
you
okay.
Can tweet it later.
Yeah, tweet it later. There you go.
But I think at least for us, we're going to continue to go, keep going into, giving access to people, or giving access to education to people online, just the whole digital part of it. And Dean, you're bringing up a good point about the, live streams and stuff like that too, and bringing education and just thinking of how that could impact the, even getting speakers involved and stuff with the event of having them go live or things like that. But virtual events for sure, we're going to continue to keep running those alongside our in-person events. So at least for us, that's our trend. I don't know about global trends,
and one thing that is
trend.
one thing that has doubled for us is simulcasting. So like all of a sudden you give people a peek into the window and you live stream, it's just sort of a fun thing to watch. And then it has this like global effect because all of a sudden you'll get somebody in Germany that you didn't count on. It's sort of interesting to watch the dynamic. We just did a couple of those. So
yeah, very cool.
And then I wanted to thank you personally, because I don't think you realize this, but remember there was 2 years ago, I said, I think we're going to position harder into the influencer space. Remember that when we were,
Yeah.
this was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I said, I just see this thing coming, but no one's attending to the business influencers. Well, I actually developed this program with all the influencer development packages and the speaker build and promote package while I
wow.
was at SMSS.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and Ann from I was sitting with Ann and Ryan and a couple people, and I was like sketching things out, and I'm like, this is what I want it to look like. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know? So that was sketched out there. So thank you for the inspiration, and I
Yeah.
probably even asked you a couple of things, and you gave your opinion. You didn't even know you were doing it. So
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to see that come together.
yeah, so
Actually, yeah.
for that.
That's
All
the
right, so
program you guys
man,
have.
we're out of time. What the heck? So as we're selecting the winners, everybody, we're going to pick 2 winners, engagement winners today. I want you to start typing in. This is your chance to engage. What did you hear Breanna say that really inspired you, either as a speaker or maybe if you're working on events? Just one thing that you're going to take away and do differently for yourself. So think about that and start typing that in. While we're doing that, let's see. Let's go ahead and do a quick. Actually, let's bring Jackson back because he's going to tell us who the winner here. The 2 winners are here in a minute. And then we have Tim Hyde, 23-year-old. He's not 23 years old, is he?
He's 23 years old.
My gosh, now I feel old. 23-year-old award-winning marketer, CEO and founder of TWH Media and True Fan Inc., and entrepreneur and speaker. And I've been following him now since we knew we were going to have him on the social chain. And it's like crazy, just the different places that he winds up, you know? So I'm almost like fascinated. Like, where's he going to, he's like, where's Waldo? It's like, where's Tim? So it's just funny to see this.
Yeah, he's an award-winning marketer, so young, one of LinkedIn's top voices, and he's always on the go working and living his best life. So I think it's going to be a really fun interview next week. I'm really excited.
They always are, always are. And then real quick before we get to the winners, don't forget to tweet questions throughout the week so we can tee those up for our speakers. So start following the speaker as well as Breanna here today. And then don't forget, call us if you're interested in the influencer development program. And then Breanna, we have you at Breanna Jacobs. That's the real one, right?
Yep, that's me.
The real deal. And then you're okay about people connecting on LinkedIn and all that cool stuff?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, after all this talk of connecting, of course, yeah, I want to connect. We do.
So we have people that are going to attend more networking and meetup gatherings. They're going to be more active on social media. They're going to work on their one sheet in terms of their bio and things like that. So again, we want to thank you. So Jackson, who's our 2 winners for the most engagement?
So our 2 winners for the most engagement are actually someone from GSMI.
What?
It's Catherine Quant.
Oh.
And yeah, she was on. I don't know if she's still on. I think she might have had to run off, and
She had to run to Starbucks. She's getting a Starbucks gift card, so she's running to Starbucks.
Yeah, they're always marketing those events. So, and then the other one is Dave Garrity. So,
Dave, welcome. Oh, we haven't seen Dave on in a while. Congratulations, Dave. So, remember, coffee's for engagers. So that means that when you have this cup of coffee, you have to share something that you learned from Breanna today, and make sure you teach someone something that you learned today. And that's part of you developing your influence in the world and helping each other out. How does that sound, Breanna?
Sounds awesome.
I know.
Yeah, I like your play on coffee for engagers.
Right? I mean, that's the route to success, is engaging, especially on social. So Breanna, from the bottom of our heart, we love you. We appreciate you, everything that you do. You have the very best events. Yep. And so, and you're one of our influencers. How about that?
Yay.
So with that being said, she's frozen. She's speechless.
Exactly.
With that being said, I just want to say thanks to all of our listeners out there. And thank you, Breanna, again, for being part of this. And then don't forget, everybody, you can
thank you
listen
guys.
afterwards.
It was fun.
And we will see you online. So, Kate, take them away.
Bye, y'all.
bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
All right, take